Hello, namaste, vanakkam, kaya which is hello in local Aboriginal language. And I'm Dr. Rohini with you today in Australian Indic podcast series supported by Hindus of Australia. What we do here is we give a platform to successful Australian Indian stories. And if you have a story to tell, and if you know someone they have a story to tell, please reach out to us at hindusofaustralia@gmail.com. Today's podcast is rather interesting, which is importance of second language. Well, human civilization is filled with lots of interesting topics. Well, one of them, which is a language. So, how millennia ago early humans have developed these languages? They would have probably listened to, paid close attention to the sounds in nature, and slowly, they developed their own sounds, which is vowels, words, and then languages. And today, in 21st century, where we sit at, we have thousands of global languages plus some complex machine languages. That's what we in what we communicate to. But when you look at the progress of these languages, now that we have noticed that many of these languages, they're beautiful, are have disappeared in the past, or and slowly many of them are disappearing. Why? Have you ever wondered why? So there are many factors that affect these languages, which is probably natural calamities that wiped out entire population, invasions, or global phenomena, which is internet, or globalization, where people think that one language, learning of one language, or getting efficient in one language, fluent in one language, would give you heaps of career opportunities. So most of the times your own language gets neglected because of getting like more and because of giving more and more focus to the other language. So yeah, we are going to discuss all these factors, all these important, interesting topics in today's podcast. And we have an interesting guest today who is a teacher by profession, who is also mentor to many students, including myself, and who is also a researcher in his own way. So let's welcome Mrityunjay Singh ji. Mrityunjay Singh ji, welcome. How are you today?
Namaste, Rohini ji.
Let's start with your journey. That how did you become a teacher, or when did you feel that I should become a teacher?
I never wanted to be anything. The different times of life, I wanted to be different things. I still remember the first time the teacher word came from my mouth was when I had gone to participate at All India Public Schools athletics meet. And there I became the best athlete in 1984, 83. 1983, I was declared as the best athlete at Motilal Nehru School of Sports. And I'd gone to represent my school, Delhi College Indore, and I was the athletic school captain. So once I became the best athlete there, then I was asked to come to the podium and answer a few questions. And I still remember Mr. Kane was the head of the department of history there. And he asked me a question: what do you want to do in your life? So I just told him that I wanted to be a teacher. So the whole gathering was like laughing, and I was red in my face. No one expects the best athlete to say that he wanted to be a teacher. I was finishing my degree, and I'd finished my master's degree at St. Stephen's College, Delhi University, and then I was wanted to go and be into journalism, and the interviews were later, and uh, we had contacts. There used to be campus interviews at that time when you could go and to, if you wanted to go into journalism, there would be different newspapers coming to recruit. And St. Stephen's College was a preferred place where they recruited. And my head of the department said there is a school which wants a temporary teacher for some time, and for 3 months you want to become a journalist. So journalism interviews will be held later. So if you want to go and for 3 months, go and fill in. They desperately need a teacher to fill in. Wow. For 3 months. So I went to Motilal Nehru School of Sports to teach for 3 months. And when I taught history in the classroom, the way the student responded to my teaching, and it looked as if they had never had a great teacher, and the response was amazing. And we work for different things, and when we go into a workplace, we like either it's money or it's something that you get, which gets you hooked to the work. And it was the students, the feedback of my teaching and how they responded to my teaching made me feel that at no other place I would get this kind of a response. And they really need me because no one else teaches the way I taught. So I thought, I'll stick to teaching history for the rest of my life.
That's an interesting decision because I guess in Indian culture, being a teacher is like really held very respectable. I guess first your parents and then next is a teacher. And
That's
parents
true.
don't even choose to argue with teacher; they just trust the teacher
Yeah.
like anything. And second thing, I think being a teacher is so far whatever how much I have listened to you, I can tell that you have a natural gift of storytelling. And if you are a best storyteller, I guess that's good for teaching profession, I
I
guess.
never carried any book to the classroom. I never carried any notes. I just
Yeah.
went and told them everything in the form of a story. And in the last minute, we would just summarize. I would write few points on the board. Students will make further notes, and then that's it. Done. If you tell the story
Yeah.
properly, and if they know the gist of the story, the important aspects of it, you don't need to memorize. Then you know the story. You will answer the question.
Yes, I can tell that when I was a student, well, opening a book was the like least favorite part of a whole education part. So you started teaching profession in India, and you have to have like when we was speaking, you have traveled to, you have taught in Middle East and Australia as well. How was that experience so far?
It was great. I was teaching in India. Then I realized that in India, teachers don't get paid enough, and I had needs, and I had to take care of the family. The family had taken care of me. I don't come from a very well-off family,
Yeah.
so then I realized that I need money, and then the opportunity came, and I applied for a job in Middle East. It was an Indian school,
Mhm.
and then I went there. It was the same Indian students, and loved teaching Indian history, and I taught there for 8 years. And uh, I used to get into different trouble because I would teach things which, uh, uh, if anyone said something, I wanted them to question. If
Yeah.
someone told me that religion does not teach violence, I said, all right, have you read the book? Go and read the
Mm.
books of religion. Straight.
That must have
Go
been
and
really
eat. And
difficult in different
so
country, different culture where,
oh, it was
yeah,
hard. And
I can.
I went through a journey where it was challenging, and because I could pick up the challenge and I could get the students engaged, so I got the kind of response which very few teachers got from the students, and I enjoyed that response, and the love and affection that you get, because if you're an honest teacher and you teach properly and the kids enjoy it,
Yeah.
it's nothing like it. It's like a different world.
Yeah.
When I was teaching history, there would be when students will ask question, I would let them organize discussion and debate. Like just one example, I was teaching year 9 history, and one student asked me, "So the textbook says that Buddha never talks about heaven or hell. He never talks about supernatural being. Then how can Buddhism be a religion?"
Mhm. That's an
So
interesting take
when
coming from a
you
student. Yeah.
get that kind of a question, what do you do? And
Mm.
I was teaching in a Muslim country. You can't criticize religion, you can't criticize God. And so I said, all right, I can't say anything on this. So why don't you go and talk to your parents about it? And the next day you come and discuss and share your thinking, whatever your parents tell you. And I didn't say anything. I knew that the students will come back because most of the students had been brought up in the same leftist environment in India where there was enough knowledge in every family. They came and they discussed. Next day, the deputy principal was from a religion which considers a book to be perfect. So he complained that, and then many kids had gone, and that there was a ripple in the community that
Okay.
this person talked about, allowed discussion. The person talked about God and religion and made the students question. I hadn't said anything. It was
Yeah.
the students who were sharing the
Students.
knowledge.
Yes.
So that was the first time that experience, and then I was given a warning. And after some time, it was 1997 when there was it was like a great festivity there. Shankar Dayal Sharma had come to school. He was the president of India in
Mhm.
Muscat, and when all the festivity was going on, it was like another freedom struggle going on in the school.
Mhm.
Dance, drama, speeches, everything. So I did something different. I just asked the students, can you go and do a research on the freedom struggle of Sri Lanka? I didn't
Mhm.
do anything more. I just asked them to research. A couple of days later, students said, "Sir, we can't find anything." I said, I don't. So what do you conclude?
Were they
They,
able to
they
find
couldn't come to
anything?
conclusion. So I
Okay,
asked
that's
them,
it.
it was year 10 class. So I asked them, can you go and revisit the first chapter of year 10 textbook? It talks about colonialism,
Mhm.
neo-colonialism, and imperialism. And can you see why uh, certain countries like America did not want to conquer the rest of Latin America? And what could be the reason for independence of many countries?
Mhm.
So there were few students who understood what was there, and in the first chapter itself, that you don't have to conquer a country to keep ruling. And India was becoming mm, not easy to rule because the military itself had revolted in after World War II.
Yeah.
So when the country becomes unrulable, and many countries which were there in Latin America, USA did not consider worth conquering them. They said, we will rule over them through their own puppets. So the time for colonialism had already expired, and the British wanted India to be used as a how Americans were exploiting Latin America. It was
Interesting.
not useful to continue to control India, and that was the lesson. So basically, if that kind of conclusion students are deriving, then you would say, ah, didn't independence come purely because of the freedom struggle? Yeah, freedom struggle was one factor, but not everything. So
Yeah.
they said, and then when the students started concluding and writing essays, what they thought, then there was a complaint that I tried to discredit the freedom fighters of the nation.
Oh, the
So,
so-called freedom fighters. I mean, Indian history itself is a very controversial topic,
yeah.
and we
So,
know lots of people have been talking about how it's been
so
miswritten, misrepresented, misinterpreted, and like, I
So
hope.
I had gathered many sins over the years.
Okay.
My students were too radical and they were thinking too far beyond what was digestible to large number of people. There were very few people from where you would say really centrist, nationalist Indians.
Hmm.
They were uh, there were very few,
Yeah.
and they were only teaching the HSC courses like physics, chemistry,
Yeah.
mathematics, and Hindi. The
I guess
rest,
that
all the
had
jobs were
always
taken away by.
been the focus of Indian parents, like get better at STEM, and yeah,
Yeah.
they do not value the other yeah, other subjects or other arts, I guess. So so I can conclude that your experience in Middle East may not have been the best.
No, no, it was great. The
Okay.
students, I love those students. They were all coming from professional background.
Mm-hmm.
Their parents were very well educated.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them, I just had to throw a question and they will come back with answers you would be amazed at their capability. I love teaching there, and
Okay.
I have
But
no
you had to
regret.
face lots of
Yeah.
challenges so far that I
But
am hearing
then
from
I
you.
realized that I was treading on a very thin line. Every day there would be something happening in the class. I would be
Mm.
worried. So
So,
I survived and then
and
applied
then
for visa to Australia and came
Australia. So
here.
what made you think to move to Australia? Like,
I was just, I thought that the India, even if I went to India, I would be kicked out from jobs because no one would tolerate that you can make the children question
mhm,
the what is written in the textbook itself.
yeah.
And I got the students to be thinking, and I would, besides teaching from the textbook, I always taught in the last couple of minutes of the lesson. I would say, read something in the newspaper. You learn to question what is there in the newspaper,
Yeah.
find faults what you are dissed from by the newspaper, media, and it's like history is teaching a subject where you learn to question. And
Mm.
history is all about trying to get closer and closer to the fact. You will never get 100% close to the fact, but
Yes.
trying to, the history is a journey, getting closer and closer to the fact. And then trying to separate what is not fact. So there are
Mhm.
three things which are not facts: fiction,
Interesting.
propaganda, and belief.
Hmm.
And I always ask the students, if you want to believe, question the belief, question your own belief. Don't go and question somebody else's belief.
Mm.
Question your own belief, what you have. And then I'll help you to search in your journey. I'll help you in your journey. Then
Yeah.
propaganda and belief, politicians, what they are delivering, and propaganda that goes on in the newspapers, you can easily question that. And
Yeah. I guess
one
once
day,
you start questioning your own things, then it becomes clearer and clearer day by day. And
and
you even can, I guess, debunk the propagandas.
yeah,
That's the take I can take from your answer. Yeah.
so
So,
besides the one questioning the freedom, there was in my termination letter, which one of the sentence was, yeah, you made the students question the founder fathers of the nation.
mm,
That was one of the reasons my services were terminated. Another was, of course, the how come Buddhism is a religion.
mhm. I mean, it sounds traumatizing though. I mean, teaching profession, especially for subject like history, I guess it does not look easy. I mean, it
It
is
is. If you
challenging.
are a history teacher, you can't teach history even in
Mhm.
Australia, sincerely, today.
So I would like to ask you that after history, that what are the subjects that you considered teaching?
There was a big demand. I thought that let me move into something where there will be no controversy. So
Mm.
I wanted to teach. There was a big demand for special ed because it's difficult to teach those kids who have special needs.
Yeah.
So always there was a need, and I thought that I'll be able to get a job in that permanent job where my wife would also be able to get a job. So
Mhm.
I was thinking that way, where
And
the
it's
family
also
can be taken.
challenging because most people, what I have been seeing actually, most people do not want to consider teaching
Teaching
or any
special.
profession in that. It's
Yeah.
kind of challenging than teaching normal, regular people. But it's good that lots of governments initiatives and people themselves are feeling like going into these professions and doing better jobs. Yeah.
Yeah. So at that time, oh, my deputy said, "Oh, why don't you retrain in maths?" I said,
Mm.
"I've never studied maths even after 10th class."
Yeah.
So he said, "Well, just try. It's not hard." And then I went to the maths teacher who was my friend, and I said, "Do you think I can do maths?"
Mhm.
He gave me year 12 maths. He said, "Go and sit down and start doing it." And so I sat down for 2 weeks and started working on maths. And when I faced some difficulty, I asked him, and I thought that, and I was one of the best students in my school in maths till
Mm.
up to year 10. And I was, I just gave up on maths because I didn't want to be an engineer or anything. So
Mm.
I thought, why do I study maths?
I
I,
get you.
I was more passionate
You
about
study heaps of
humanity.
algebra and all other
Yeah.
things. And even now, when I look at my engineering syllabus, I think, okay, I learned that, but do I use it now? So yeah, most of us
Yeah,
are
so
like that.
I knew that I was not going to use math, so I just dropped it. But then
Mm.
I picked it up, and then I got a scholarship, so I started studying maths, and I became a maths teacher.
What made you to switch to language again as a subject?
Language just came on the way.
Mm.
So when I came to Australia, my first teaching job was far away from Sydney, 500 kilometers. So I was living with my daughter there, and then uh, my wife was living in Sydney, and we
Mhm.
used to travel on the weekends. So my father gave the language to my elder daughter.
Yeah.
When the younger one was born later,
Mm.
my father came and lived with me, and then my daughter was fluent in Hindi. Then my father went back to India
Mm.
for 2 years, and he didn't come back. And my daughter went to the childcare center.
Yeah.
And once went to the childcare center, she started speaking English. Then she would not talk in Hindi. And
Because
when my
she's
father came back
mm.
after 2 years, my daughter would not talk to him because my father could not talk in English and my daughter didn't want to talk in Hindi. 2 years or
Mm.
so, and she didn't want to speak a word of Hindi.
Mm.
We would talk to her in Hindi,
Mm.
but she would talk to us in English within 2 years.
Yeah.
This was 1 year of childcare, and she had gone through a part of kindergarten. That's it.
Mm.
And
So
that sent a bad warning to me. Then I started looking for a school. I went to a temple where there was a language school running, and then it was not working properly. Then there was no other school where I could take my younger daughter.
mm.
Elder daughter could go to a school where there was a language class. I would travel 40 kilometers to take her to a language school. It was not working there even because it was really frustrating.
Yeah.
And then when I tried to teach her at home, it was not working either because it's hard to teach your own kid, get them to settle. There are many parents whom I've met
Mm.
who are very disciplined, who are able to get the child to learn Hindi at home, and the
Mm.
parents have taught them. But I couldn't. My children refused to learn from me. And then I realized, what do we do?
Yeah.
So we thought that we will, there were two things. My daughter, younger one, where she was going, there was Mandarin class running.
Mm.
And I went to the school principal and talked to her. Can we get a Hindi in this school?
Mm.
And she said, no, no one wants Hindi.
Okay,
Uh,
because you could not gather the enough numbers so that school would
Numbers.
consider.
And
Yeah.
then it was like a big journey. I'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
That was something for the first time that I had picked up a public issue and
Mm.
made it an issue. And then we lobbied. And
Mm.
in the long run, it was a journey.
Yeah.
It took me 5 years of continuous lobbying, getting the people together, convincing them,
Mm.
and distributing pamphlets, educating public, educating parents. And then finally, in that school, we not only got Hindi, we also got Nepali language. Besides Mandarin,
Mm.
my daughter's school is teaching today. My daughter, when we started our lobbying and canvassing and requesting, petition writing, persuasions, convincing the principal, getting politician support, we went through that journey.
Yeah.
And my daughter was in kindergarten when I started it.
Mm.
My that school got Hindi when my daughter was in year five. So it was 5 year long journey.
Yeah.
But
So
then in this time, we also thought that that is one path. And then we talked to the Department of Education, New South Wales, and they talked to a school. School gave us a venue. We gathered a few bunch of volunteers, and then we started running a community language Hindi school every Sunday. So there, I was not teaching my children. Someone else was teaching my children. We got teachers training at Sydney University. There are a lot of things in this country which are beautiful.
yeah. So
The
on that note, I would like to ask you, like now that you have seen it as a first-hand experience, that how not speaking your mother tongue can actually stop your child learning about your culture. Not just that, it would also stop connecting with your family, not back in
yes,
India. Yeah. So
not
on
only
that,
back in India, here
even
itself.
here also, community. Yeah.
And you get your children to talk on phone to your parents and your family members in India, they will not. They will run away because they can't communicate in their local language.
That must have been the heartbreaking experience for grandparents because their own
Yeah.
grandkids cannot talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that note, I would like to ask, now that you have seen it as a first hand experience so far, what are other reasons that you think that learning a second language is important for any child?
All. This is a pamphlet that I had prepared
Mm,
when uh, the school was saying that the parents don't want it and there are not enough people. So it
mm.
was a long journey. So sometime we will talk about it later.
Yeah.
And if you want, I can go
Yes,
through
I
in
do have
short.
actually. I do have lots of questions as a parent to ask you for later on, but I would like to go first on importance of learning a second language as a
Let
student.
me
Yeah,
go through the importance of second language first.
yeah.
So I've got something which I'll show you this first.
Mm,
Where is it? Let me look. I started wanting uh, Hindi for my child.
mhm.
I told the principal of the school, don't give me Hindi if you can't.
Yeah.
Can my child learn Mandarin?
Mhm.
Because at that time, I was really worried that my child is getting monolingual. My whole
Mm,
family was bilingual.
yeah.
Part of my family comes from Bengali background. And
Mm,
at least in my family, there are many people who speak three languages.
yeah.
And most of the Indians speak more
Yes.
than two languages.
Yes.
Most
Any,
Indian
yeah,
families, there
Indian
are three
born people,
languages in the family.
yes. Same goes with me. So my mother tongue would be Marathi. When we step out of home, that would be Hindi. And yeah, eventually we would use English wherever we need to. So yes.
So
Uh,
I'll just share my screen
sure.
and share screen. Let me see. Can you see this?
Yes. Uh,
This is the second page. Benefits of learning many languages.
yeah.
You become smarter. You
How
are
so?
better.
I mean, I would love to know how smart. Like if
Yeah.
anybody
So I'll
wants to,
just show you the pamphlet that I had
yeah.
prepared.
Hmm.
And I went around distributed in the whole catchment area of the school where my child was going.
Wow.
And a lot of parents started calling me, how can I get second language?
Mhm. So you
Then I went on
convinced
a
law.
petition,
Hmm.
signature campaign,
Yeah.
and I got signature of 200 and some people, and the school was only 300 plus. And then more
Wow.
than 200 parents signed a petition that give us any second language
That would have been like if 70 to 80% of
of the
parents
parents signed
wanting
it.
their children to
Yeah.
learn second language. That is impressive.
So this was the pamphlet that I had prepared. You can
Mhm.
see that, and you can see this. Now
Yeah.
I will unshare this and I will answer your question and go a bit more systematic.
Yeah. No,
In
you can leave it if you want to because there is a
I'll
lot of
unshare this. I'll
information.
share. I got something on a PowerPoint, and
Yeah.
let me share that.
Yeah. It would be okay if you want to go through like each of
Okay.
those points. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
see my screen now? And
Mm.
then I'll go through. Do you see my screen?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it on a PowerPoint now? Can you see that?
Yes. Yeah. It
Okay.
looks really nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why second language?
Yeah.
You become smarter. Students who study many languages tend to score better on standardized tests
Mhm.
than their monolingual peers, particularly in the categories of maths, reading, and vocabulary.
Wow, and that's been proven scientifically as you are teaching lots of students, so you have seen that improvement
I've seen that.
on
And
personal
this is,
basis. Yeah.
I'll give you links to all these in a
Yeah.
minute.
Okay.
You are better at multitasking skills. And there is a Pennsylvania University, there was a research carried
Mhm.
when monolingual people and bilingual people
Mm.
were selected, and then all in a scientific experiment, you carry rest of the variables, you keep same. You, only one variable you are changing, that is monolingual, bilingual.
Mm.
And the parents were given a simulation in a car, driving a car, and the simulation was such that there are kids at the back, they are disturbing, people fighting at the back, they are disturbing while you are driving.
So lots of distractions were
Lot of
created. Yeah.
distraction. So monolingual people had many times more probability of having an accident because they couldn't multitask. Now, this is a university research. You Google search and you will find this.
Yeah.
You can prevent Alzheimer's and dementia. Several studies have been conducted on this topic, and as a result, for monolingual adults, mean age for first sign of dementia is 71.4 for adults who speak two or more languages, and for monolingual, it is 5.5. So there is nearly 4 years of a gap
Yeah,
onset of dementia.
and it is a huge gap. I mean, 4 years
Huge
is not
gap.
a
4
short
years at
time.
that age, people would say, "I've lived my life, and I got
Yeah.
another 4 5 years." You can imagine.
Yeah.
Your memory improves. You become more perceptive.
Hmm.
Your decision making skills improve. You improve your English as well, and you click on this.
Yeah.
Can
So
you see?
overall, not just your cognitive
Can you
abilities.
see? Did my screen change? Do you see something on my screen, or do you want me to stop share and then share that now?
Yeah, you have to, because
I
now
will
we
share this
can't. Yeah.
now. See this. When I clicked on the research, this is what 10 super psychological advantage of another language.
Yeah.
Every time they are giving you, they are quoting a research paper. Can you see that?
Not yet.
You can't see that? Okay,
No.
just 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay, here.
Now,
Can you
yes.
see 10 superb psychological advantages?
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. Brain growth. Here is a research article.
Yeah.
Stave
So,
off dementia. Here is a research article.
mm-hmm.
And this is not research done in India, or all these are Western research.
Yeah.
Here, you hear language better,
Mm-hmm.
become more language sensitive, boost your memory,
Yeah.
better multitasking, increase attention, double the activation, improves your attention span, better multitasking, new ways of seeing things, improves your first language,
That is an interesting point. Just learning in another language that you can improve your
improves your
first
first
language.
language.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and then you can Google search. You would be amazed. And it is for this reason that uh, New South Wales government is encouraging the children to preserve their community language. They are
That
spending huge amounts of money.
that's impressive.
Victoria has made language speaking, language teaching compulsory from kindergarten.
Yeah.
Most European countries, they are teaching 3 languages from kindergarten itself. They are exposing them to
Yes.
3 languages.
Yes. So many European people, they are able to speak either, if French is their first language, they are able to speak fluent French, but they are also able to speak, I guess, Latin, because that's also been taught in their schools, and also English. So yes, 3 languages. So all I can understand is it just not only improves your cognitive abilities, but also make you a better person, or in every sense, like
Yep.
you know more, and you can communicate to anyone if you know multiple languages. That I can get.
And remember,
Hmm.
most of us are here because we learned a second language, English. If we didn't have English, we wouldn't be here.
Yes.
Now, if
Yeah.
if people think that you have to leave your language culture to learn English, this is one of the dumbest thing that uh, one can think of. You
Yes.
go to the school, your kindergarten teacher in Australia,
Hmm.
every educationist will tell you, do not talk to your children in English at home.
I would
Every
like
teacher,
you, yeah.
every teacher tells you this because
Hmm.
they are trained to tell you this. The Department of Education and all the academic research says that the
Hmm.
longer you carry your first language, mother tongue,
Mm-hmm.
the better it is for the child.
Okay,
And that will help the first language. That is, of course, English in this
yeah.
country. First language will naturally become English.
Yeah,
We
because
have
I have
used.
seen many parents, they are wanting to learn their children, the children to learn English, like not just the speaking fluently, but also writing and that literature kind of English.
Yeah.
Yes, so just learning your own mother tongue can actually make that happen. I mean, that's an interesting take actually from this topic.